In a Dry Season by Peter Robinson. Read by Neil Pearson and Anna Massey.
August 1967. It was the summer of love, and I had just buried my husband when I first went back to see the reservoir that had flooded my childhood village. I made the journey only a few months after Ronald and I had returned from one of our long spells abroad. Ronald had suited me well. He was a decent man, quite willing to accept that our marriage was one of convenience. He saw me as an asset in his diplomatic career, and I wanted to be as far away from England as possible. And he'd left me a tidy sum of money, enough at least to live on and to buy myself a new Triumph sports car, a red one, with a radio. And so, singing along with All You Need Is Love and listening to the news bulletins about Joe Orton's murder, I headed back to Hobb's End for the first time in over 20 years. After I left the main road outside Skipton, I don't think I saw another car. It was one of those perfect summer days when the air smells sweet with the perfume of cut grass and wild flowers. Berries shone like polished garnets on the rowan trees. Teewits soared over the meadows, and sheep bleated from the far dale sides. The lane stopped at the edge of the woods, so I had to get out and walk along a crooked dirt path until at last I stood on the edge of the reservoir. The water's surface was utterly still. When I had lived there, Hobb's End had been a village in a valley. Now I gazed upon a lake surrounded by forest. Confused, unsure what I was feeling, I sat on the bank and stared. And as I stared, I fancied I could see clear through the water to the village that used to be there. There it was, shimmering below me, as it had been when I lived there. Smoke curling from chimneys over the slate and flagstone roofs, the dark mill on the hillock at the west end, the squat church tower, the high street curving beside the narrow river. And I could see the people, shopping, making deliveries, gossiping. I could even see our little shop, where I met her for the first time, that blustery spring day in 1941. The day it all began.
Adam Kelly loved to play in the derelict houses, loved the musty smell of the old rooms, loved the way the sunlight shone through the laths, casting striped shadows on the walls. And this afternoon he had a whole village to play in. He stood at the rim of the shallow valley, staring at the ruins below, anticipating the adventure to come. The future of the universe depended on Adam today, and anything could happen down there. The village was a test, one of the things that he had to conquer before advancing to the 7th level. The only other people in sight, a man in jeans and t-shirt and a woman in white, stood at the far end, near the old flax mill, pretending to be tourists, pointing their video camera here and there. But Adam had played his game often enough on his computer to know that deception was everywhere. Things were never what they seemed. Heaven help us, he thought, if they got to it first. He half slid, half ran down the dirt slope, until he reached the red, baked earth at the bottom. There were still patches of mud around. All that water, he supposed, wouldn't just evaporate over a few weeks. He paused, and the sun beat down, making him sweat behind his ears and in the crack of his bum. And his glasses kept slipping down his nose. But the talisman was here somewhere, and it was his job to find it. Where to begin, though? He didn't even know what it looked like. He crossed the old stone bridge and walked into one of the half-demolished cottages. It smelled as if some gigantic alien creature had laid down to die in a hot, fetid swamp. In places, the heavy stone flags that formed the floor had shifted. They wobbled, and thick gobbets of mud oozed up between them. Adam felt poised over a quicksand ready to suck him down to the earth's core if he made one wrong move. Time to move on. Outside he noticed an outbuilding, the kind of place that had once been used to store coal.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?